Welcome! Do you want to learn English in a fun and easy way? In this video, we teach English using narrated, animated stories. Here is how it works. On the left, watch the beautiful animations. They are designed to help you understand and enjoy the story. On the right, you can read along as you listen to the narrator. When we reach a difficult word, don't worry. A box will appear at the bottom with a simple definition and an example to help you learn. Let's get started.
The Great Wall of China is a very old and famous place, a huge work of human hands. If you stand in the Mutianyu area on a misty autumn morning, when clouds hide the mountaintops, you can truly understand why this monument has captured people's minds for many years. The wall moves up and down with the mountains, almost like it grew there naturally. Tall watchtowers stand in line, like stone guards watching over the land. The bricks under your feet are smooth because millions of people have walked on them over time. Looking around, it feels like stepping into another world, far from noisy cities and busy roads of today. This place shows the amazing effort of a great empire trying to protect itself from unseen dangers. Many people have wrong ideas about this famous structure. First, it is not just one wall. It is actually a very large group of walls, barriers, and defenses. These were built over more than 2,000 years by different Chinese rulers for different reasons. If you add up all the parts of the Great Wall ever built, the total length is about 21,196 kilometers, which is 13,171 miles. To give you an idea of this huge scale, imagine going from New York to Sydney, Australia, and then back again. The most well-known part, built during the Ming Dynasty, is about 8,850 kilometers long. But even this big number does not tell the full story of its complexity. There is a very famous myth that says you can see the Great Wall from the moon. This is not true. This idea became popular in the early 1900s and was repeated for many years. However, the wall is made from materials that often look like the earth and rocks around it. It is only possible to see it from low space orbit, and even then the sun must be in the perfect position to create shadows that show it. From the moon, it is totally invisible. Also, even though it is incredibly grand and so many lives and so much money were used to build it, the wall was not always a good military barrier. Invading armies often found ways to get through, around, or over it many times. So the wall did not ultimately stop all enemies from coming into China. Yet it became a very powerful symbol. It shows the lasting strength and pride of Chinese civilization, even when its defenses failed. This difference between what the wall was truly built to do and what it has become to mean is at the heart of its story. This history will reveal the great ambition and deep suffering behind its creation. It will tell of millions of lives lost to build a defense that, in the end, could not keep invaders out. This sets the stage for a long, bloody, and complicated history that is much stranger than you might think. Before the Great Wall, China was not always one big country. Long, long ago, from about 475 to 221 BCE, it was a land of many small kingdoms. This time was known as the Warring States period. It was a chaotic era, filled with almost constant fighting.
The land was fractured into many rival states, like Qin, Zhao, Yan, and Chu. Each state was always competing to expand its land and power, wanting to survive and grow stronger than its neighbors. To protect themselves from these frequent attacks, the different states began building defensive walls. But here is a surprising fact. These first walls, the very first sections of what would later be called the Great Wall, were not built to keep foreign invaders out. Instead, they were made to keep other Chinese kingdoms from crossing their borders and attacking. For instance, the state of Qi started building its wall in 441 BCE, stretching for about 600 kilometers to defend against its rivals. Other states followed this example, creating a network of walls that crisscrossed the land. These early walls were very different from the grand stone fortresses we know today. Most were not made of strong bricks or quarried stone. They were simple mounds of packed dirt. Builders used whatever materials they could find close by. In areas with soft soil, they used tamped earth. In the dry Gobi Desert, they layered sand, small stones, and even branches or reeds. So, in many places, China was defended by walls made mostly of natural, common materials. Even simple dirt walls were effective for their time. Before there were big cannons or airplanes, even a modest earthen wall could slow down an enemy army.
It forced soldiers to find another way around or climb over, making them vulnerable to defenders waiting above. These walls were not perfect. They would often decay or be damaged. It seemed like these scattered dirt barriers might just wash away over time, becoming forgotten parts of the landscape. However, the story of these walls was not over. Just as they seemed destined to disappear, a powerful new figure emerged. This was a ruthless king, strong and fiercely determined to crush all his rivals. He would unite the fragmented land of China under his single rule. This king had a grand vision to change the future of these borders forever, setting the stage for a massive building project unlike anything seen before. His rise marked a turning point, promising to transform the simple dirt barriers into something much more monumental. 3. The First Emperor. In the year 221 BCE, a new era dawned for China. A powerful king from the state of Qin had conquered all his enemies, bringing an end to the long period of warring states. He then declared himself the first emperor of a single unified nation. He took the grand title Qin Shi Huang, meaning First Emperor of Qin. This was an unprecedented moment in Chinese history, as China had never before been under one ruler. He dreamed of a China that was strong and secure. Qin Shi Huang had clear priorities for his new empire. He worked to make China stronger and more organized.
He standardized weights and measures, so everyone used the same system across the vast lands. He also created a single writing style for all people. He ordered many new roads and canals to connect his distant territories. Importantly, he destroyed the old walls that had once divided the competing states. These internal walls were now obstacles to his central power, not helpful defenses. After securing his internal borders, the emperor turned his full attention to the north, where a different kind of threat waited. A serious danger came from the northern lands, the Xiongnu people. They were nomadic horsemen known for their incredible speed and fighting skill. Their cavalry could attack deep into Chinese territory, raiding rich farms and towns, then vanish quickly before the empire's slow-moving armies could respond. China, with its valuable agricultural wealth and settled cities, was very vulnerable to these lightning-fast incursions. The emperor understood that this constant threat could weaken his newly formed empire.
Qin Shi Huang needed a powerful and permanent solution to this danger. He decided to build a massive defense structure, a 10,000-li-long wall. The ambition behind this project was truly staggering for a world without modern machines. Imagine building such a wall across vast, difficult mountains and deserts using only human strength, wood, and simple tools.
In 215 BCE, he sent his trusted general Meng with more than 100,000 soldiers to the northern frontier. Their difficult mission was to connect existing wall segments and build many new ones, forming a huge barrier against the Xiongnu. This grand vision promised to secure China's future for a long time. But who would pay the ultimate price for the emperor's impossible dream and its construction? 4. The sad story of the workers. The Great Wall was a huge construction project, but its greatest cost was human lives. Over many centuries, millions of people were forced to build it. Most of them were soldiers, farmers, and even prisoners. They were taken from their homes and families and sent to work. They had to build in terrible places, from freezing mountains to scorching deserts. Life was extremely hard for these workers. They often did not have enough food or warm clothes. They had to carry heavy stones and earth up steep hills and through difficult terrain. They used only simple ropes, wooden beams, and their own physical strength. This work was so brutal that it broke their bodies and spirits. Many died from hunger, cold, disease, and hard labor. It is believed that hundreds of thousands of people died building the wall. Some historians even suggest the total number across all dynasties reached 800,000 or more. Because so many lives were lost, the Great Wall is sometimes called the longest cemetery on Earth. Wealthy people could pay money to avoid this forced labor, or they could send another person in their place. So it was mostly the poor people who suffered and died. There was a very harsh rule. If a prisoner died while working on the wall, his family had to send another member to finish his sentence. This rule caused immense grief and hardship for countless families. When workers died, their bodies were usually not sent back to their home villages. This was considered a great sacrilege, as people believed a soul not buried with its ancestors would become lost forever. One of the most enduring stories about the workers' pain is the legend of Meng Nu. She married a young man named Fan Qiliang. Just 3 days after their wedding, soldiers forced Fan to go work on the Great Wall. Due to the heavy workload, hunger, and cold, Fan died at the construction site, and his body was buried under the wall. Meng Nu missed her husband greatly. She traveled all the way to the Great Wall, facing many difficulties. When she heard the sad news of his death, she cried for 3 days and 3 nights. Her bitter tears were so powerful that a section of the mighty wall suddenly collapsed, showing her husband's body. There was also a grim belief that workers' bones were ground up and mixed into the mortar to make the wall stronger. However, experts have never found any human bone fragments in the wall's construction materials. This myth was likely just a powerful metaphor for the incredible number of lives sacrificed. The empire used its own people to build this huge defense. A system built on so much suffering and blood, like this one, could not truly last for a long time. 5. The Big Attack. The story moves forward to the Han Dynasty. After the Qin emperor's short rule, the Han emperors took power in 206 BCE. They did not forget the wall that Qin Shi Huang had started. Instead, they made it much longer, expanding it greatly.
The Han Wall pushed far into Central Asia. Here, it helped protect important trade roads, which would later be known as the famous Silk Road. During this time, the wall was not just for fighting anymore. Its role became intertwined with trade and the movement of goods. The wall became a place for commerce and customs. It was like a big checkpoint or a toll booth. People and goods had to stop there. Border guards checked travelers. They looked for banned items or contraband. They also looked for smugglers. For example, history tells of two clever monks who once hid silkworm eggs in their bamboo walking sticks. They managed to trick the guards and take the secret of silk making to another empire called Byzantine. This shows the wall was not only about keeping people out. It was also important for controlling what went in and what left China, helping to manage its economy and knowledge.
Later, other northern dynasties, like the Northern Wei, Bei Qi, and Sui, also used and fixed parts of the wall. These rulers were sometimes from the very northern tribes that the wall was originally meant to stop. They still found the wall useful for their own defenses. The Sui dynasty, for instance, used over 1 million men to work on the wall, showing its continued importance for a time. But then came the powerful Tang dynasty, 618 to 907 CE. China became very strong, with its empire expanding far beyond the old wall. So the wall lost its main use as a military barrier. It became less important, and its sections slowly started to fall apart. Many parts became just mounds of dirt again, as nature took them back. This is why a famous European traveler named Marco Polo never wrote about the Great Wall. He visited China in the 13th century, long after the Tang dynasty. If the wall had been a huge, clear stone structure then, he surely would have said something in his well-known travel stories. But by that time, it was mostly old, crumbling dirt walls. Then, in the 13th century, came the biggest and most dramatic test for the wall. The Mongol Empire, led by Genghis Khan and his sons, was incredibly powerful. They moved very fast, conquering vast lands across Asia. They did not stop at the Great Wall. The Mongol army simply rode past the old, broken sections of the wall. They swept into China, easily taking control of the whole country. The Great Wall, which was built as the biggest defense ever, failed completely to stop them. It became almost useless against the mighty Mongol attack, showing its limits as a military tool. 6. A wall made of stone and rice. After the Mongol rulers were pushed out, a new group took power in China. This was the Ming dynasty, which began in the year 1368. The Ming leaders saw the old walls that had crumbled. They decided to build a new wall, much stronger than anything before. They wanted to make an impregnable stone dragon, a wall that no enemy could ever break through. This is the impressive stone wall that most people see when they visit China today. The Ming dynasty spent a huge amount of money on this project. Historians say it was like spending $95 billion in today's money. This was an unimaginable amount for a time without modern machines. They built around 25,000 tall watchtowers along the wall. These towers were important. They were small forts for soldiers, holding weapons and food. Soldiers used smoke signals in the daytime and bright fire signals at night to quickly warn other towers if danger was coming. The wall became a system of defense, not just a line. The Ming builders used stone and millions of bricks for their wall, making it very strong. Years later, modern scientists made a surprising discovery about the special mortar they used. Mortar is the sticky material that holds bricks or stones together. Scientists at Zhejiang University found something unusual mixed into the regular lime and water: sticky rice. This was a big innovation. The sticky rice contained a special sugar called amylopectin. This sugar mixed with the lime, making the mortar extra strong and also flexible. Tests showed that this sticky rice mortar helped the wall stay strong even during earthquakes. It made the bricks practically indestructible against natural forces. It was amazing how a simple food became a secret ingredient for such a grand structure. The Ming Wall was a masterpiece of engineering, strong and built to last for centuries. It seemed impossible for any army to get past it. Yet, despite the brilliant design and millions of strong bricks, the wall ultimately failed due to a different kind of weakness. A famous historical event tells how a Ming general, in a moment of human betrayal, allowed a large enemy army to simply walk right through an open gate at Shanhai Pass. The Great Stone Dragon, built with such care and cost, had an unlocked door for its final enemy. 7. The wall in danger. After the Ming dynasty, the Qing dynasty took over in 1644. These new rulers were from the north, and they had no strong reason to care for the Great Wall. Their empire grew, so the wall was no longer important for defense.
It became redundant for their new, larger borders. Without regular fixing, parts of the wall began to fall apart. Local villagers took bricks and stones from the wall. They used them to build their own homes, pig pens, and roads. This was a dark comedy and a tragedy. A wonder that cost huge amounts of money and countless lives was torn down, brick by brick, to build humble pigsties and simple farmhouses. This showed how some locals saw the wall as simply a source of free materials, not a piece of history. In the turbulent 20th century, China changed a lot. The wall, which was once forgotten and crumbling, started to become a strong national symbol. The words of China's national anthem even speak of the Great Wall. After 1949, the new government began to fix parts of the wall. In 1957, the bottling section was open to visitors. Important people from other countries started to visit. In 1972, the American President Richard Nixon walked on the wall. Nixon's photograph on the Great Wall, a Cold War president standing at the edge of a structure built to mark the boundary between civilization and the outside world, became one of the defining images of 20th century diplomacy. Later, in 1987, UNESCO named the Great Wall a World Heritage Site. This brought international attention and made the wall famous around the globe. Today, the Great Wall faces terrifying new dangers. Climate change is one big problem.
Rising temperatures and changing weather, along with strong winds and heavy rains, are making parts of the wall weak. Scientists say that sandstorms might make some older sections of the wall disappear entirely in just 20 years. These parts, made of packed earth, are very vulnerable. It is a race against time to protect them. Human activity also causes damage. Careless tourists sometimes climb on unstable sections. In some remote, impoverished areas, locals still take bricks for building, viewing the wall as a resource. In 2023, 2 workers were even arrested for digging a shortcut through an old part of the wall. Even some repair work has caused damage. In the past, concrete was sometimes used badly, making it worse. Many millions of people visit the wall each year. Their footsteps slowly wear down the ancient stones. Experts say that only about 8% of the wall is well preserved.
A large part, 65%, faces collapse. The Great Wall needs urgent help to stand for future generations. 8. The meaning of the wall. The Great Wall faces many threats today, but modern science is finding surprising ways to save it. For example, researchers have learned that tiny plants like moss and very small bacteria, called cyanobacteria, are actually helping the wall. For a long time, people thought these things were like weeds and harmed the old stones and earth.
But scientists now know that these tiny living things help hold the fragile earthen sections together. They stop the dirt and sand from washing away. More than 2/3 of the old, less visited parts of the wall are covered by these natural helpers. This is a strange twist. What seemed like a problem is actually a savior for these ancient ruins. Satellite monitoring also helps track the wall's condition, allowing quick repairs to prevent collapse. Beyond these scientific efforts, the Great Wall holds a deep and lasting meaning. It shows much about human ambition and desire to protect. It is a monument born of fear, built to keep unknown enemies away from China's settled lands. It also carries the heavy story of immense suffering, as millions of workers died building it in harsh conditions. Yet it also stands as a testament to incredible resilience. The wall was built, fell into ruin, and was rebuilt many times over more than 2,000 years. Each section tells a story of survival. While the wall did not always stop invaders, armies often found ways to go around, over, or through its defenses. Its true beauty is found in its honesty. It is a simple wall, yet it tells a very complicated story. It reflects the grand visions of powerful emperors and the difficult lives of ordinary people. It became more than just a military barrier. It helped preserve China's unique culture and spirit, even when its physical defenses failed. It shaped the idea of what China was, a border between one way of life and another. This made it a powerful symbol for Chinese identity and its long history. Today, the Great Wall reminds us of a huge effort to build something meant to last forever. It is a place that brings together the past and the present, a mix of success and failure, a wonder that continues to amaze people from all over the world. It makes us think about what human beings can achieve when they work together and what they have struggled with throughout history. What part of the Great Wall's story do you find most surprising or inspiring?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.